So needless to say, my social life picked up dramatically from that moment. In high school, I went out for the football team. I was a big guy, I weighed about 300 pounds. 6'2", big dude, you know, about as fat, slow, and smoked like a tar kettle. And so, needless to say, football was not it. I was the kid with the clean white tennis shoes. And so I basically quit the football team. Well, my girlfriend broke up with me the same week. And I was brokenhearted. I was just down the dumps. And my dad was a pro mod drag racer. He was Mr. Cool. So, I mean, you know, me and him didn't have those sit down and arm around your son moments usually. But my dad knew I was down in the dumps. I come home one day from school and there's a 1995 Trans Am. Now keep in mind, it's a brand new car sitting there with a red bow on it in the driveway. I'm like, what's this? I get out and Dad said, I seen you was having a rough week. I bought you a car. And I'm like, a Trans Am? He said, yeah. So when all your buddies are playing with each other, playing football, now you can go play with their girlfriends. So needless to say, my social life picked up dramatically from that moment. I was really particular about my car. I didn't want to park it. And you got to think, being an underclassman, every high school is the same. They're going to put you way in the nosebleeds parking. Well, you think I'm going to cram my brand new Trans Am in the back of the school parking lot? No, that's not going to happen. I drive a nicer car than most teachers. So I parked in teacher parking. They got on to me a few times about it, and a few things were said. Well, I got the bright idea. Senior parking was the next row. I found me a senior that took the bus, got her to buy me a parking pass. I started parking in senior parking. And that worked for about the biggest part of the rest of the year. Had it figured out. My Trans Am was safe and door ding free. Had a good parking spot. Everybody's happy. Till this one assistant principal that didn't like me. She was waiting by my car one day as I came out. She said, Mr. Pitts, you're not a senior, but you're parked in senior parking. I said, I'm a freshman, but I take a senior home sometimes, and she's out sick today. What's her name? Needless to say, it didn't take long to figure out I was lying. She said, we've had a serious problem with you and your parking. Come to my office. She said, one more parking problem with you. You need to go back to underclassmen parking one more time, and we're permanently going to revoke your parking privileges. And I'm thinking to myself, my dad owns a damn car lot. I could drive a different car every day. So I got smart. But that bright green dealer tag got me every time. So needless to say, what do? Went back in teacher parking. Just like that. She said, after today, you need to move your car and you can't bring it back on school grounds. Well, here I am with a brand new Trans Am, and I'm going to have to explain to my parents why I can't drive it to school. And I said, Rob, you're smarter than this. You can do this. So I was pulling out of school, and Wade Hampton High School has a row of ranch houses across the street. I mean, it's a 2-lane road in front of it. 50 feet from the front door is these ranch houses. I pulled out, and there was an elderly lady out checking her mail. I whipped my Trans Am right in the driveway. I said, ma'am, I'm a new student here, and they're not selling parking passes anymore. She said, baby, you can park your car in my driveway. Better yet, the garage, why don't you just put it in the garage? And I'm thinking, this is just too good to be true. I said, well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for letting me park, so I'll pay you. She said, you owe me anything. She said, that's a beautiful car you have. I said, well, thank you, ma'am. So I had it figured out. So the next morning, I pull right in to her driveway. I back in. She's waiting on me. Would you like anything to eat, any breakfast or anything? I said, no, ma'am, I'm good. I'm just going to go on into school. As I'm walking across the street in the class, Miss Brister's standing in front of the school. So I flip a Marlboro out, walking into the parking lot. I'm officially parking closer than I was in teacher parking. And there's nothing she could say about it. And this lady was so nice. And it is so funny, this story. This lady baked cookies for me when I got out of school. When it was raining, my car was sitting in the garage. I liked her better than my real grandma. And but high school was full of that kind of stuff. You know, I was always into something. I always had the hustle. But way before, you know, I was putting Chevrolets in driveways and Dodges in garages and Fords up on the board, I loved cleaning up cars. I loved detailing cars. Well, my junior and senior year, you know, I had study halls and career center, which are bird stuff. You can leave. And I was detailing half the faculty's cars at Wadham High School. And they would let me leave to clean their car up. So it would be ready by the time they left. And you got to think about it. This was 1995 in South Carolina. Minimum wage was like $4.25 an hour. Well, Rob was paying $10 an hour to clean up cars. So I had 5 guys working with me. And I had car lots all up and down the stretch. And I was dropping guys off with cleanup stuff and using their water and cleaning cars up. And I'd pick them back up and pick a check up as I go. I loved body work. I remember my dad sold salvage cars for a living. So needless to say, body work was kind of close to me a little bit. So I decided, you know what, I'll take body class. Well, we had a state-of-the-art frame machine. It was brand new at the time. It was a car liner machine. And this thing was really, really nice. And the funniest thing about it was that a lot of the body shops didn't have a frame machine nowhere near this nice. They had a old chain in the floor tug unit, and this thing, was with the computer on. I mean, this is one of the first ones like that you could actually dial a car in and put it back in spec. I was renting the frame machine out because our body shop teacher had a thing with the lady in the front office. So he would get us started and check roll, and he's gone for 3 hours. You didn't see him again. I would call him up and say, get the car over here. And if somebody walked in, I'd say it was my car. And we'd put it on the frame machine, and I was pulling cars and charging for it. We had an alignment rack in shop class. I had a little racket with this guy. We were lining the front ends on them too. We had another guy, he already called the paint booth though, so I couldn't really charge for that one. But we didn't have enough time to really be painting cars, but the frame machine worked out pretty good. Had the best rates in town, anybody working a frame machine. My senior year, and I actually took a job at an auto parts store. And this is probably the funniest thing ever. I'm working a parts counter in an auto parts store, and just a little after school job. And I was working one Saturday. The manager comes in a tizzy. They accepted all your used oil, and it's big oil tank in the back. It was overflowing. Some reason the company that corporate set up never came to get our oil. We just kind of fell off the list. So we got all this oil, and how do you get rid of it? Well, I found a used oil company that will buy it from me, and they wrote me a check once a week for the oil out of the back of that store. I just made sure I was working that day they came. I did that for like a year, and nobody never knew. And I mean, they were glad it was empty. And I mean, I guess the big store manager figured that the company was supposed to be getting this. I don't know what they thought after I left. So basically, I guess all these high school experiences was just another feather in my cap of automotive entrepreneurism.